Come on, ladies. There you go.
Okay, doing it.
Yeah.
How did Jerry Trainor have to support himself before landing his role as Spencer? What did Jennette McCurdy think of Miranda Cosgrove when they first met? And how did the actresses' paths cross long before they were cast together? Hi, I'm Janet. Let's get into it. Jerry Trainor as Spencer.
The things that have helped me with audition is this mindset. You're not always going to get the part, but this audition is your chance to act for the day.
Before securing his role on iCarly, Jerry Trainor had recurring roles on shows like Drake and Josh and Malcolm in the Middle. These appearances didn't exactly pay much, so the actor spent the rest of his time working at Starbucks and various box office counters. It wouldn't be long, however, until he went from having no shows to 2 in production at the same time. That's right, Jerry had to jump between the roles of undercover agent Dudley Puppy and Carly's big brother, Spencer. It didn't come easy, though. According to the actor, everything changed the day of the final screen test. It was between him and another actor, and after they had both read for the part, he was asked to stay behind. That was the moment he knew he got the role.
It was my birthday that weekend, and Dan was like, do you want to do this? It might go for 3 years, we'll see, and then you can go off and do whatever you want.
The actor went on to say that he was very grateful for how sought after he felt at the time, and that working on iCarly definitely defined his career. While we haven't seen much of Trainor over the years, having most recently starred in the Netflix series No Good Nick, he'll forever be the eccentric sculpting artist whose projects quite frequently catch on fire. Reed Alexander as Neville. You know him for his shrill voice and devious mind. It's Neville Paperman, one of the main antagonists in iCarly.
Well, one big difference that I have to my character Neville would be that hopefully I can maintain and at least try to be as nice as possible.
The actor behind Neville is Reed Alexander, a face you might also have seen on Nickelodeon's Sam and Cat. But how did Alexander snag his role in these memorable teen sitcoms? The actor revealed in an interview that his interest in acting began when he was 8. He always loved the idea of acting, particularly in front of the camera. Did you know Ariana Grande was actually a member of his drama group at school? The two started out together and eventually both made their way onto Nickelodeon. Cool, right? Alexander went on to say that even though acting was out of the ordinary for his family, his parents supported him every step of the way. He started auditioning for various roles and eventually got an agent. At 11, Alexander landed a role on NBC's Will and Grace. And suddenly, doors started to open for him. He snatched up the part of Neville, and pretty quickly became a famous face in the Nickelodeon world. Alexander said that even though his character wasn't part of the main cast, he was surprised to see how many people recognized him, or more particularly, remembered his character's catchphrase, "You'll rue the day." According to Alexander, no one on the show imagined iCarly would blow up like it did. Remember, this was all way back in 2007, and the idea of hosting a web show was still relatively unheard of. The writing was good, the plots were entertaining, people really bonded with the show. We ended up going for 5 seasons, which is really unprecedented for kids' television. Quite a whirlwind, don't you think? Before we go on, how about you take a moment to subscribe? The Catcher brings you secrets, hidden details, and gossip from all your favorite shows. Don't miss out on our next upload. Nathan Kress as Freddie.
Hi, I'm Nathan Kress. I'm 14 years old. I'm with Kazarian Spencer and Associates, and I'm 4'10 and a half.
You might not know it, but Nathan Kress has been on our screens long before he played the lovable Freddie Benson. At only 6 years old, his first proper acting job was voicing Easy and Tough Pup in Babe, Pig in the City. After the movie's premiere, Nathan's family chose to focus on his education instead. And even though his career came to a stop, it looks like their decision paid off. While in school, Kress joined the drama club and realized acting was his true calling. Thank goodness for that. At 14, after making numerous appearances on Drake and Josh, the show's producer, Dan Schneider, invited Kress to audition for Freddie. Needless to say, he got the job, and pretty soon, his face was everywhere, with his character stuck in the middle of an internet ship war among fans. Freddie and Seddie tore the fandom apart, and even though the show ended with a kiss between Carly and Fred, it's still not clear which girl the character ended up with. Especially since Freddie seems to have broken up when Freddie makes an appearance on the show Sam and Cat. While all of this has nothing to do with Kress in real life, it's interesting to know that fans haven't quite given up on the show's romances yet. When Kress got married in 2015, the fandom went crazy, and not in a good way. Apparently, everyone was holding out for him to end up with either Miranda Cosgrove or Jennette McCurdy. That's how serious they took the show. According to Kress, he never imagined this would happen. Honestly, I had no idea. We all had hopes. We knew it was a funny show. We were hoping that people were going to like it. Unfortunately for them, people didn't like it. They loved it. Who were you shipping, Freddie or Seddie? Noah Munck as Gibby. Gibby Gibson is probably best known for his peculiar habit of frequently taking off his shirt. He likes Chinese food, donut holes, and Build-A-Bear. And while he's not a main character, actor Noah Munck kicked off his career by portraying this iconic role. But how did he get started in acting? When Munck was 10 years old, he took hip-hop lessons while his sister attended improv classes. And one day, while he was waiting for her to finish, the teacher asked him to join. Munck fell in love with acting. Both he and his sister were signed by an agent, and from there, he mostly starred in commercials. After he got his role in iCarly, his career took off. This, however, wasn't necessarily a good thing according to the actor. After he became famous for Gibby Gibson, Munck struggled to get roles outside the same type of goofy character. I would like to progress into something that's completely different than iCarly. I would love to show people that I can do something, act serious, in a way that's dramatic. As yet, Munck is yet to make that leap. His recurring role on ABC's The Goldbergs often sees people referring to him as Naked Rob, a teenage boy with a fondness for shedding his clothes. He might go by a different name, but to most iCarly fans, they might as well be seeing Gibby Gibson all grown up. Which, if you think about it, might not be such a bad thing. If everyone loves him in these roles, why change? Jennette McCurdy as Sam. She's sarcastic, tough, and sometimes aggressive. It's Sam Puckett, Carly's best friend and co-host. Before introducing us to Sam, Jennette McCurdy appeared on shows like Malcolm in the Middle, Will and Grace, and CSI. A big lineup of shows, right? Well, that's to be expected, considering she snagged an agent when she was only 8. While most of her roles up to Sam were merely guest appearances, her luck started to change when she appeared on the family comedy Zoe 101. Impressed by her acting abilities, the show's producer, Schneider, offered her the role of Sam. When asked about her first screen test with Miranda Cosgrove, the actress said that she remembers it quite vividly. She was wearing a fashionable, all-camo, limited-to outfit, sipping on a Coca-Cola when Cosgrove first walked in. She said it was friendship at first sight. Never mind Sam and Carly, we at The Catcher are all about Jennette and Miranda. Since the end of iCarly, Jennette's most prominent role was that of Wiley Day in the Canadian science fiction series Between. The show only ran for 2 seasons, but it still makes for an entertaining watch. Knowing Sam, she'd definitely have liked the show. Miranda Cosgrove as Carly.
Hey, I'm Nathan Kress.
And you're reading for?
I am reading for Freddie.
Fabulous. Okay.
So you got all those answers right.
Yes. 5 feet.
Miranda Cosgrove is the very definition of a child who grew up in front of the camera. Interesting enough, she never actually pursued a career in acting. According to Cosgrove, she was discovered by a modeling scout as a child, and her mother only accepted the gig to save up for college. When her modeling eventually switched over to acting, the actress said her mother didn't think she'd like it. She auditioned for School of Rock, and the experience was so cool, she fell in love with it. So much so that she quickly made a name for herself as Megan Parker, the snooty little sister of Drake and Josh from the famous Nickelodeon show. Fast forward 3 years, and she took on the role she's most known for, Carly Shay. She's a star, said producer Dan Schneider. She's one of the classiest little girls that I've ever met. Miranda's the real deal. There's nothing Hollywood about her. Isn't that sweet? It seems Cosgrove isn't that different from her character after all. We know her friendship with Jennette McCurdy is the real deal. McCurdy called it friendship at first sight. But what did her co-star think? Even though they had only known each other a couple of weeks, Cosgrove said they quickly grew fond of each other. After all, it wasn't the first time the actress had seen McCurdy. Apparently, the pair had crossed paths at several auditions over the years, but never got around to actually meeting. Cosgrove said that even though she only ever greeted McCurdy, she always knew she'd like her. Is your heart warm yet? Well, it's about to get warmer because at the end of 2020, producer Jay Kogan posted a pretty exciting tweet. iCarly for adults? That's right, iCarly is getting a reboot. As far as we know, most of the original main cast is set to return. However, Jennette McCurdy is yet to comment on her involvement. Whether or not we'll see our favorite BFFs together on the screen again, we can't wait to see what the show has in store. We know your inner teenager is screaming right now, because ours certainly is. Thanks for watching.